The past is never truly gone. Yet, what if the records of our own history, the artifacts, the monuments, and even the collective memory of humanity were intentionally erased by something beyond comprehension? Across time, civilizations rise, flourish, and vanish, leaving behind traces of culture, technology, and thought. But what if some of these traces are missing not because of neglect or decay, but because a technology existed, or perhaps still exists, with the ability to systematically erase memory, both physical and cognitive, reshaping the very narrative of existence? Imagine a force so subtle, so powerful, that it could overwrite what humanity knows about itself, leaving gaps in history, anomalies in the archaeological record, and inconsistencies that modern science struggles to explain. Throughout the world, unexplained phenomena hint at a deep erasure. Ancient sites appear and disappear from the historical record, artifacts vanish without trace, and myths persist that do not align with known events. Some of these occurrences have been attributed to natural disasters, wars, or societal collapse, yet patterns suggest something more deliberate. Consider the sudden disappearance of entire civilizations from our historical understanding: the Indus Valley Civilization, the mysterious Olmec culture, or certain Bronze Age settlements whose scale and sophistication rival later societies. While archaeologists attempt to reconstruct their stories, pieces of the puzzle remain forever missing, as though someone or something removed them intentionally. The concept of memory erasure on a civilization-wide scale is more than fantasy. Modern physics, neuroscience, and information theory all hint at the mechanisms by which information can be selectively removed, overwritten, or hidden. In theory, advanced technologies could manipulate matter and energy to obliterate records of civilization, from written texts to biological memory. Imagine a device capable of altering neural patterns, removing entire memories from a population while leaving the surrounding environment intact. Alternatively, consider technology that could erase or distort physical traces of infrastructure, art, and architecture, so that even the most sophisticated detection methods cannot recover the past. In either case, the past becomes a phantom, a shadow that exists only as a faint echo within the collective consciousness. The erasure would not have to be absolute to leave its mark. Small anomalies, inconsistencies, and gaps in knowledge could accumulate, creating the illusion that history has holes. Linguistic discontinuities, abrupt technological leaps, unexplained cultural motifs, and sudden shifts in societal development might all be consequences of such interference. It is not merely the physical evidence that vanishes. The imprint of knowledge and memory could be subtly altered, creating a timeline that is partially fictionalized, where some events are real, others are erased, and the totality becomes a carefully sculpted narrative. If the possibility that our past has been manipulated fascinates you, 404 Altverse is the portal to explore it. Subscribe and journey with us through anomalies, hidden technologies, and theories that challenge conventional understandings of history. Every artifact, every myth, and every gap in the record becomes a clue, hinting at the tools and intelligence responsible for reshaping the memory of humanity itself. What we call history may be only the version that survives the interference, and what is truly lost may be far older, stranger, and more consequential than we can imagine. Across time, humanity has occasionally glimpsed remnants of forgotten knowledge. Obscure manuscripts, strange artifacts, and inexplicable ruins suggest a technological sophistication beyond the apparent capabilities of known civilizations. Could these be remnants of the very technology that erased our past? Devices capable of controlling memory or reality itself may have existed in ways we cannot yet comprehend, operating on principles of quantum information, energy manipulation, or other mechanisms lost to time. Each discovery, each anomaly, each inexplicable observation may be a faint signature of this forgotten technology, a whisper of an era deliberately removed from memory. The implications extend beyond archaeology into consciousness itself. If memory can be erased, altered, or overwritten, then humanity's perception of reality is not absolute. What we believe to be historical fact, cultural continuity, or personal memory may in part be the result of interference from unknown mechanisms. Our identity, both individual and collective, could be shaped not only by natural events but by deliberate acts of erasure. To confront this possibility is to confront the fragility of knowledge itself, to recognize that the past is not fixed but mutable, and that the line between reality and manipulation is far thinner than we imagine. Even modern science contains hints that memory is far more malleable than we realize. Experiments in neuroscience demonstrate the ability to erase, alter, or implant memories in controlled settings. Advanced information technologies can selectively remove or manipulate data. Scale these principles up exponentially across populations, civilizations, or even planetary systems, and the erasure of collective history becomes plausible. The past may not merely be incomplete. It may be actively edited, curated, or erased by a force that transcends conventional human capability. Finally, the very concept of a forgotten technology that can erase history challenges the assumptions of human progress. Perhaps our understanding of civilization, development, and historical continuity is a product not just of evolution or discovery, but of selective preservation and erasure. The gaps in our knowledge, the inconsistencies in our historical record, and the mysteries that persist may all be signs of a power long forgotten, a technology whose full scope and purpose remain hidden. To study these anomalies is not merely archaeology. It is to confront the possibility that history, as we know it, is a curated illusion, and that the true past, vast, complex, and unknowable, lies just beyond our reach. History is rarely straightforward, and the gaps in our understanding may not be accidental. Across the globe, archaeologists, historians, and geologists have uncovered mysteries that challenge linear narratives. Entire cities vanish from the record, sophisticated tools appear suddenly without precedent, and cultural leaps seem impossibly abrupt. Ancient monuments, like the precision-cut stones of Puma Punku, the inexplicable alignments of the Great Pyramids, or structures hidden beneath layers of sediment and ice, suggest a level of technology and engineering sophistication that we struggle to account for. The conventional explanations, human ingenuity, lost techniques, or coincidence, strain credibility when confronted with patterns that hint at knowledge deliberately erased, obscured, or forgotten. Could these anomalies be evidence of a technology so advanced it could manipulate memory, perception, and reality itself? Consider the implications of such an erasure. It is not enough to physically remove artifacts. Memory itself must be affected. Collective human knowledge, passed down through oral traditions, writing, and cultural practice, could be altered or suppressed. In this scenario, civilizations would appear to start abruptly, as if from nothing, while the true lineage of knowledge, technology, and understanding is buried beyond retrieval. Oral myths might carry fragments of erased truths, distorted by time yet recognizable to those willing to see the patterns. Legends of gods, advanced beings, or civilizations that fell mysteriously may not be myths at all, but echoes of knowledge intentionally obscured. Modern physics offers some insight into how such erasure might be possible. Quantum information theory demonstrates that information, though theoretically indestructible, can be encoded, scrambled, or rendered effectively inaccessible. A civilization capable of manipulating matter and energy on massive scales could, in principle, overwrite physical and cognitive memory across populations. Black holes, quantum entanglement, or advanced energy fields could serve as mediums to hide, erase, or even redirect information, making the past unknowable while leaving just enough to hint at its former existence. The result is a civilization that vanishes not in fire or decay, but in silence, its existence recorded only in anomalies, echoes, and faint traces that refuse to be entirely erased. This idea stretches beyond archaeology into cognition itself. Human memory is fallible, malleable, and influenced by suggestion, culture, and repetition. A technology that targeted cognitive patterns could subtly reshape perception, leaving individuals with only partial memories, altered recollections, or false continuities. Entire societies could believe in histories that never happened, innovations that were never discovered, or traditions that were planted deliberately. Humanity, in this sense, becomes both the subject and medium of erasure, participating unknowingly in a process that obscures its own origins while retaining a faint, haunting memory of the forgotten past. If the notion that our history might have been manipulated captivates you, 404 Altverse is your portal to explore it. Subscribe and journey with us through anomalies, ancient mysteries, and theories that challenge the very nature of knowledge itself. Every artifact, every historical gap, every unexplained alignment becomes a clue, suggesting the operation of a technology capable of reshaping reality itself. Across time, whispers of this technology may persist. Ancient texts, often dismissed as myth or allegory, could describe its function obliquely. Stories of gods who erased knowledge, civilizations punished or hidden, and sudden cataclysms that left no trace of infrastructure or culture. Could these legends be encoded memories of a force or technology beyond human comprehension? Could our ancestors, in their attempt to record or explain what they observed, have left fragments of evidence that, when interpreted correctly, reveal the presence of a power designed to manipulate memory at scales that seem impossible? The consequences of such manipulation are profound. If humanity's knowledge of the past is incomplete or altered, then our understanding of progress, science, and civilization itself may be fundamentally flawed. Technological leaps that appear sudden may be continuations of forgotten knowledge, and entire epochs of human achievement may be lost to deliberate erasure. We may be walking through a curated narrative, believing in novelty and discovery, when in truth we are interacting with the echoes of an intelligence that deliberately sculpted the timeline of human knowledge. Moreover, the potential mechanisms of such technology challenge the boundaries of science and imagination. Energy manipulation on planetary scales, neural pattern alteration across populations, and the selective erasure of information encoded in matter or consciousness suggest a level of sophistication that borders on the godlike. This is not the work of ordinary human innovation. It is the product of intelligence capable of shaping civilizations at a scale both subtle and absolute. Every anomaly in archaeology, every unexplained cultural leap, and every gap in historical continuity could be interpreted as a footprint of this forgotten technology. Finally, understanding the past in light of such a possibility forces humanity to confront the fragility of knowledge. The artifacts we consider irreplaceable, the histories we painstakingly reconstruct, and the narratives we depend upon are all potentially incomplete, manipulated, or overwritten. Yet even within this uncertainty lies opportunity. Every anomaly, every echo, every faint trace becomes a potential gateway to rediscovering what was lost, to piecing together the fragments of history deliberately hidden from us. To study these traces is to become detectives of reality itself, attempting to unravel the story of civilizations erased not by time, but by technology, a technology whose existence challenges the very assumptions upon which human understanding is built. What if the very foundation of human history is not what it appears to be? To consider that an unknown technology could erase civilizations, memories, and knowledge is to confront a reality where the past itself is fluid, curated, and manipulated. This is not merely a speculative curiosity. It is a question that shakes the assumptions of identity, progress, and the nature of knowledge. If events we believe to be original are actually fragments of forgotten histories, and if civilizations we consider unique were only echoes of what came before, then humanity's understanding of itself, of achievement, and even of consciousness may be far more fragile than we imagine. Every artifact, every record, every memory becomes provisional, a whisper of what remains after erasure. Across the planet, anomalies suggest that gaps in history are not always natural. Monuments that defy conventional dating, cultures that appear and vanish suddenly, and myths that persist despite a lack of physical evidence hint at the operation of forces or technologies beyond human comprehension. Could these be the work of a forgotten civilization, one that possessed a technology capable of manipulating memory on scales both societal and planetary? Or could it be the technology itself, independent of its creators, maintaining a hidden influence over time, selectively erasing, preserving, or even altering reality? The implications are staggering. If our collective memory is curated, then the narrative of civilization is a construct, shaped not only by human action, but by forces that we cannot fully perceive. Modern science and emerging technologies offer glimpses into how such erasure could occur. Neural patterns can be altered, memories can be modified, and quantum information theory demonstrates that data can be encoded, scrambled, or rendered inaccessible indefinitely. Scaling these mechanisms to planetary or even cosmic levels suggests a terrifying possibility. A technology that can selectively erase knowledge, influence the development of civilizations, and shape the trajectory of history itself. Humanity, then, may not be the originator of its own progress, but a participant in a narrative guided by unseen hands, responding to information we never directly observed, but whose residual effects influence our development. The human experience is central to this reality. Memory defines identity, culture, and consciousness. If memory can be manipulated, altered, erased, or overwritten, then the self itself becomes provisional. Individual lives may be shaped by traces of forgotten histories, and entire societies may inherit knowledge, habits, or beliefs whose origins are lost. History, in this sense, becomes a mosaic of intentional preservation and deliberate erasure, leaving fragments that must be interpreted, reconstructed, and questioned. Our perception of what is real may be as much a product of interference as of discovery. If the concept that our past may have been erased or altered fascinates you, 404 Altverse is your portal to explore it. Subscribe and join us as we trace anomalies, lost technologies, and fragments of civilization that hint at forces capable of reshaping reality itself. Every artifact, every ruin, and every inconsistency in the historical record may be a clue, a signal of intelligence operating on scales beyond imagination, a technology whose influence persists silently across time. The philosophical implications extend far beyond history or archaeology. A past that is malleable reshapes our understanding of morality, causality, and free will. If civilizations can be erased and knowledge overwritten, then every decision, every innovation, and every cultural development is part of a reality that is curated, mediated, and influenced by forces we may not perceive. Humanity may be navigating a landscape shaped by layers of memory and erasure, each influencing the next in a recursive cycle that challenges the notion of originality. Civilization, identity, and progress may not be purely linear phenomena, but echoes within a system of information manipulation that stretches across generations and millennia. Across time, subtle evidence of forgotten technologies may remain embedded in myths, symbols, and anomalies. Legends of gods or beings who controlled memory, of cities that vanished overnight, or of cataclysms that left no trace, may all contain kernels of truth, faint echoes of a reality manipulated, overwritten, or erased. Our task is to interpret these fragments, to read the hidden language of erasure that persists across cultures, continents, and centuries. Humanity, in this view, becomes a detective not only of history, but of reality itself, piecing together the traces of technologies and civilizations that may have existed before memory was reshaped. The cosmic scale only deepens the mystery. If a civilization capable of such erasure existed once, could remnants of its influence extend beyond Earth, encoded into planetary systems, stellar formations, or even the structure of matter itself? Could memory, knowledge, and intelligence leave traces in the cosmos that persist long after civilizations vanish? The universe itself may function as a repository for memory and erasure, a dynamic archive in which histories are preserved, altered, or destroyed according to unknown mechanisms. Humanity's role is not passive. By observing, recording, and interpreting these anomalies, we may be interacting with a technology or intelligence whose origins are lost to time, yet whose presence continues to shape reality in subtle but profound ways. Finally, the existence of a forgotten technology that erased our past challenges everything we hold sacred about human achievement. Progress may not be entirely human, history may be curated, memory may be manipulated. Yet within this uncertainty lies wonder. Every anomaly, every artifact, and every forgotten trace is a doorway into a deeper understanding of reality. A reality in which humanity is both observer and participant, navigating a landscape shaped by intelligence far older, more advanced, and more mysterious than we can fully comprehend. The past may be erased, but the echoes remain, waiting for those bold enough to recognize them, to question the narrative, and to explore the hidden mechanisms that sculpted the world we inhabit. In the end, the forgotten technology that erased our past is a reminder of both fragility and resilience. Knowledge can be lost, history rewritten, and civilizations obscured, but the traces remain, embedded in the anomalies, myths, and structures that endure. Humanity's task is not only to uncover these fragments, but to confront the possibility that reality itself is layered, curated, and far stranger than we imagine. To explore these mysteries is to step beyond conventional history, to question the assumptions of civilization, and to recognize that the past, like the cosmos, may be both malleable and eternal, an ongoing dialogue between what was, what is, and what has been deliberately hidden.